Back to our top story. Passengers on a mystery cruise were in uproar when the first stop of their trip turned out to be Great Yarmouth. The package was run by the Suffolk tour operator Fred Olsen and promised to visit undiscovered gems. As such, some of the 900 or so passengers on board were not best pleased when they docked at what's arguably Norfolk's best-known seaside town. Earlier in the programme, we heard from Lyndon Bevan from the Great Yarmouth Tourism Board. Here's what he had to say.
Well, I'm disappointed they didn't want to get off in Great Yarmouth, but I'm also quite disappointed that they arrived late, only had 2 hours to see Great Yarmouth, all the great things we've got here, the waterways. We've just spent a fortune. Waterways, they could have gone up and down there, they could have had a nice cup of tea, they could then walk along the seafront, but 2 hours is not enough for us to show off Great Yarmouth.
So it's got us asking about these so-called mystery cruises. What are they and how popular are they with paying customers? Somebody who can tell us a bit more about this is the cruise blogger Emma Lee-Tace, who joins the conversation. Good morning to you. Emma Lee-Tace, sorry, forgive me, Emma. Good morning to you. So what are these mystery cruises? How do they work?
Okay, so a mystery cruise is basically a cruise where you know where you're getting on, you know where you're getting off, and you know how long you're going for, but you have no idea where you're going to stop. The point of the cruise is kind of to try different ports that you wouldn't normally visit. Just like the ones on this itinerary, they try to do a mix of maybe big ports, small ports, ports they don't normally call at. They're not normally for first-time cruisers. They're kind of for people who've already done a few cruises and want to try something different. And I think this news story is a classic example of a few people who are unhappy, and they're speaking much louder than all of the very happy passengers.
Yes, it's frustrating, isn't it? It's interesting. I mean, I could ask, in terms of commentary on the industry, why would passengers pay for a ticket when they don't know where they're going?
I think a lot of people who cruise frequently, you end up going to the same places over and over again, which isn't bad, but for something different, not deciding on your own itinerary can be really, really fun. And it takes all of the stress out of planning because you can't plan, you can't sit for hours doing your research, you just get on and you get off, you go where it goes. And I think that sounds like a lot of fun. I think maybe the people who are complaining are kind of missing the spirit of a mystery cruise a little bit. They did book a mystery cruise. And I know some people don't want to go to Great Yarmouth, but I've never been. I'd quite like to go.
You don't know what you're missing.
Yes.
Is it common for these companies to dock at, I mean, how do we put this nicely, less salubrious places?
Yeah, so I saw one of the ports they were complaining about was the port that is an industrial port, and it's the port for Amsterdam. And most cruise ships dock there now because Amsterdam's included this tourist tax on cruise ships going into the centre of Amsterdam. So it's kind of unfair to call that place a port because it's not. It's a gateway to Amsterdam, but most cruise ships dock there now. I think if you just got off and looked at the port, it is an industrial port. It's not a destination in itself. I think it's a shame the first few ports on this itinerary weren't maybe as exciting as the ports that they're on now. I think they're in Denmark today, they're in Sweden yesterday, Poland the day before. So they try and really put something for everyone on these itineraries. There are some bigger ports and some smaller ones. But I think maybe people just went to the newspapers after the first few and kind of should have got into the spirit of a mystery cruise a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. If you say, if take out Great Yarmouth, because my problem with this, if I was a passenger, is that if I'm going on a cruise and the cruise is about new experiences, I probably wouldn't be that interested in seeing Great Yarmouth, or Blackpool, or Brighton, or because it's my home country, I visit them frequently. So, but Amsterdam, yes, absolutely. If you're going to go to Cuxhaven, Esbjerg, somewhere in Poland, up on the north
Germany
coast,
and
fantastic,
everywhere.
Beautiful. So but actually, you're right. When you look at the port itself, then it's nothing to look at. You've got to get on a bus and get into the centre of the town. So do you think that Yarmouth has had a bit of a rough ride here? And maybe this is one of those stories where if you actually dig down, they only had a couple of hours, the ship was running late, yada, yada, yada. There's a narrative behind this, and it's a bit unfair just to wrap this up into no cruise ship should ever stop in Great Yarmouth again.
I think that's exactly it. It's an 11-night cruise. I think they've got 9 ports. So I think, fair enough, the first one, if they didn't have long and they were late, wasn't fantastic. But they've got 9 other ports to go to, don't they? So I think most people are quite happy with these cruises. Like, online, generally, people are happy. They're having a good time. I think it's just the few who speak very loudly when they're not happy.
Yeah. You told your cruise community that you were coming on this morning. What was their reaction to this story? What did they say?
Generally speaking, the idea was that if you've booked a mystery cruise, you should expect a mystery. And I think I have to agree with that.
Boy, oh boy, they got a mystery.
Yeah, I mean, I did see some people comment and say, oh, well, I really wanted to go to this place and this place. Well, book a cruise there, then they go there. And also, Fred Olsen don't just do this mystery cruise. They do normal cruises where the itinerary is fixed. And they do ones where you can you vote for the next port. So you have two choices and you vote which one you're going to go to the next day. So if you want a bit of mystery, that's like a good middle ground. But this one is a complete mystery tour, and I think people should expect that.
How brilliant. I mean, that must be a logistical nightmare, because then the ship's got to call ahead and say, by the way, all my passengers have voted that we're coming to Cork or wherever. Can you take us in? It's not like taking in a small tug either. It's a huge ship. Are they quite popular, these cruises?
Yeah, they are. They happen quite often. It's never really been in the news before, but they've been going on for a very long time. I think there's about one a month or something going on. They're quite common. So passengers are obviously happy with them. They come back and do them again. So
it was quite frustrating for the international tourists. Great Yarmouth for us is really the only place that you can bring one of these ships into. So for the international tourists, I would say to get buses there and to do West Norfolk and to go across to Sandringham. It's a bit of a bus journey, but if the cruise ship is docked early enough and you can get people to disembark by about 9 o'clock, you could have them at the gates of Sandringham by 11 and then return them back to the ship for about 6 or 7 in the evening. Especially for the international clientele, to see the Queen's house in Norfolk does feel like it's a great day. And for the right clientele, maybe a trip to Norwich would be a brilliant excursion as well. But the problem is, what does Great Yarmouth get out of this apart from the port fees? We've got to try and find some reason why people want to go and see Great Yarmouth. So I'm going to robustly defend Norfolk as being a brilliant stop. But
I think you should.
Maybe we should. A caller came on and he said something that's maybe rather un-PC but very true. That there's different markets and different people from different markets want different things when they visit Norfolk, and we have to accept that there's a certain market, and that might be the cruise market, that are a bit more Sandringham than they are Seaside, Bucket and Spade. Is that right?
Well, maybe, but I mean, to please everyone on a cruise, you're never going to do that with every port, ever. Yeah. So the people that complained about Great Yarmouth might have loved the place in Sweden, and other people would have hated it. I don't think you can please everyone all of the time. I think this cruise personally sounds like a lot of fun. It's not something I've ever considered before. I'm a bit of a control freak. I like to know where I'm going and what I'm doing. But it's got to be so much easier just to get on. You're fed, you've got your entertainment, you're looked after. I don't see how you can complain about it.
Great to have you on this morning as ever. Lovely to hear your voice, and we'll catch up soon. That's the cruise blogger Emma Latisse. We contacted the tour operator Fred Olsen, and they told us it's a shame that a minority feel this cruise has not met their expectations. However, we've also received a number of positive comments. After 8 o'clock, our reporter Andrew Turner will be speaking to the Mayor of Great Yarmouth, who met